photographers, especially Lee, he tried to disprove the case. He tried to understand how Meyer had the capabilities of hoaxing all of the material. All of the analysis that we did, the photogrammetric analysis, the movie footage analysis, metal analysis, sound analysis, nothing could determine how he hoaxed it. It all came out very positive. So for 2 years we were involved in this discussion of trying to figure out how he did it.
Well, what was interesting about this man is we put him through a lot of hell. We conducted PSE examination, psychological stress evaluation. We invaded his private domain, his house. We lived there. He allowed us to interview his kids, his wife, his friends. He didn't try to stop anything. He didn't try to hinder us. And we spent a lot of time there. So we felt, gosh, this guy, he seems legitimate, but still we had to try to prove it to ourselves that this was really happening. And we had to conduct a lot of science and scientific investigations. But after 2 years, we found it was easier to believe he was having contact than trying to figure out how he's manipulating this whole story. How's he getting metal? How is he bonding metal in a strange way? How's he taking these photographs unless they're real? And plus there's 40 witnesses confirming his story.
Bill Meyer es conocido mundialmente por sus supuestos contactos con seres pleyadianos extraterrestres. El 28 de enero de 1975, Bill Meyer explica que se encontró con una nave en forma de disco en un prado cercano a su casa, en la localidad suiza de Hinwil. De dicha nave salió Sim Jace, una mujer pleyadiana. Según su relato, tendría después otro centenar de contactos en los que Sim Jace le habría presentado a otros visitantes de las Pléyades. Estos le explicaron que intentaban controlar el desarrollo de vida en el universo, pero sin intervenir en los problemas de civilizaciones en estado de evolución como la terrestre.
When did the experiences begin? The contact begins on January 28, 1975 in Hinwil. How did it happen? What made you go outside into the forest? I got something like a very light voice in my head. I heard something to leave the house, to go out and to take a photo camera with me. So I left my house, and then when I was far outside from the village, I heard a singing noise in the sky. And when I was looking up there, I have seen a disc. This disc was flying on the clouds, and then it came to the point where I was staying with my motorcycle. Then slowly it came lower and lower and settled down between the white trees and the forest there behind.
Meyer later photographs the impressions left by the disc's tripod landing gear. The grass has been pressed and swirled in a counterclockwise direction. Even a year later, the grass has not sprung back, but Meyer notes that the impressions swarm with insect life.
Then I have seen a person who came out of the disc.
Person came out?
Yeah. I have seen that it is a woman.
Mr. Meyer, what did they look like?
She looks like a human from this earth. Like you, like I, like human beings from this earth.
You call us extraterrestrials, and you attribute to us superhuman powers. But we are like you. You too are still far removed from perfection and must evolve constantly, just like yourselves.
After the first words, we turned and was going to this tree here. You walked over here? Yeah. Sit down.
And you sat here and talked to her?
Yeah, then we was talking here for about 1 hour or 1 hour and a quarter, something like that.
Did she give you a name? What did you call her?
Yeah, she told me her name is Semyase.
Semyase?
Yeah.
Billy, what kind of feeling did you have sitting there under this tree with a woman who just landed in a spacecraft?
I wasn't afraid about these things. I was afraid about the army only, because they have a station somewhere there behind the forest. But I wasn't afraid about the disc.
Where do they come from, Mr. Meyer?
They shall be coming from the star picture of the Pleiades.
La comunicación se producía telepáticamente y en ocasiones hablada, ya que los pleyadianos no hablaban únicamente en el idioma suizo, sino que, de acuerdo a la historia de Bill Meyer, ellos hablan en todos los idiomas del universo. Entre los numerosos estudiosos interesados por el caso, destacó el coronel Wendell Stevens, quien fue a la residencia de Bill Meyer en Suiza y realizó una amplia investigación de todos los sucesos. A raíz de esta investigación y con el objetivo de demostrar la realidad de sus historias, Meyer ofreció evidencias como las siguientes: grabación de extraños sonidos procedentes de las naves. Los análisis los realizaron de manera independiente Robert Shellman, ingeniero de sonido de un laboratorio submarino de la Marina de Estados Unidos, Niels Rognerath, ingeniero asesor electrónico, quienes quedaron sorprendidos ante la extrañeza de los audios, concluyendo que habría sido muy difícil realizar una falsificación como esa.
Listen here. Wow, you recorded that here?
My wife recorded this one here, and in the meantime, I've been there down very standingly with the other recorder.
You had another recorder down there. How high was the ship above you?
About 60 meters.
60 meters. How far would you estimate it is from here down there today?
I think some 300 meters.
The sounds bear no resemblance to anything Stevens has heard before. Meyer gives him both tapes for analysis. Stevens has more news.
We got a report back from Shellman. Sound analysis?
He had sent the sound tapes Meyer took of the craft to Robin Shellman, specialist in sound identification.
He found some things we didn't hear on there.
Such as?
Well, he picked up, besides the basic sound, he picked up a small dog barking. Of course, we could hear him. He picked up a European police siren. We never heard that. He picked up a crow cawing.
Wait a minute, how in the hell does he pick all this stuff up? How does he determine the sound?
They've got a sound bank back there that they match sounds in. They can identify known sounds.
Okay, on this sound bank of his, anything there to match it?
He said he can't match the basic sound. He can match all of the other sounds on the tape, but he can't match the sound of the object itself, the emitted sound. Now look at this. He's concluded up to this point that the machine must have been built for a specialized application. Recognizing the sounds from such a machine may be difficult. Also,
later, Shellman will theorize from the sounds what those specialized applications might be.
Fragmentos metálicos que procederían de las naves pleyadianas. Se realizaron hasta 4 análisis de dichas muestras, de las cuales solo uno de ellos, el llevado a cabo por Marcel Vogel, químico de la IBM en San José, California, podría respaldar de la procedencia, al menos insólita, de los materiales. Según el Dr. Vogel, los fragmentos se componían de una extraña aleación.
Next, Stevens takes the metal fragments to be examined under the electronic spectrometer to determine their components. Preliminary examination of the metal has been done in Switzerland.
And we've got these little marker bars here that we can line up on each peak as they come up. This one indicates we have silver there. Over here, let's see. We got some copper, small amount of copper. That looks like about all that's in here at the moment.
The big band here is silver, though.
The big one is silver.
Later analysis of other fragments also reveals small amounts of thulium, a rare earth element that is difficult and costly to extract here.
This is one of the...
Because of the unusual nature of the findings, the fragments are given to chemist Marcel Vogel, an expert in crystalline structures and inventor of many substances used in computer components.
The first specimen I looked at is a metal specimen, which I classified as F1. This is the appearance that it looked at, rather golden colored on one side, silvery colored here. We find that, in truth, it is silver and a small amount of copper. We look at it here, this same area here, under polarized light. What is unusual of this small specimen is both highly crystalline nature, and suddenly we come to a metal section as we see here, and it showed a combination of metals that I've not encountered in any normal bit of metallurgy, both crystalline deposits and metal. Now, we with any technology that I know of could not achieve this on this Earth's plane. I could not explain the type of material that I have and its discreteness by any known combination of materials. I could not put it together myself as a scientist. It's also a challenge because I showed it to one of my friends who was a metallurgist, and he shook his head. He said, I don't see how it can be put together. And we find that in this area there is evidence of machining, that there are striations which look like the sample has been worked mechanically. It doesn't look like anything that we've made here. At this moment I would feel very much inclined to accept what was given to me as being true.
Fotografías nítidas de naves a la luz del día. Algunas de estas instantáneas fueron analizadas por el físico Neil Davis, director del laboratorio de Sync Technology, Robert Nathan y Bob Post, pertenecientes al laboratorio óptico del Jet Propulsion Laboratory, y Michael Nalin, doctor en ciencias planetarias y especialista en procesado de imágenes por ordenador. Ninguno de ellos pudo encontrar evidencias de fraude.
Computer analyst Jim Delatoso has some new findings to show Welsh.
Let's go back and look at this picture again and get some information about the edges. I've discovered this interesting program for measuring the edges of things and comparing it to all the other edges in the pictures based on the relationship of those edges, the width of the edges and the properties in the edges. So we're stretching the data in the edges so we can count how many pixels wide it is. And it's very interesting what happens when you stretch them out, because it becomes very clear. Pixels, these little squares, like building blocks, and pretty easy to count. So this one ranges from 5 to 7 pixels wide, this edge. So we have our range here is from 6 to 8. Now what this tells us in looking at all of the edges on the object is, first of all, that it's not a flat piece of plywood hung in the air, or it's not a paste up that was done. It actually has shape to it. And in this case, a very wide range, which has to do with focus. Some of the object is more in focus than other parts of the object, which tells me right off at that point that we're dealing with something of size to it.
There are new photos too and more film. In some, the beamship hovers by a tree. Maya says they use trees as a kind of magnetic ground. 2 or more ships in the same shot are almost unheard of in UFO photos. Maya has dozens of such pictures. Ships below a horizon line, such as a hill, are even rarer. In this photo, the Variation 2 ship controls a smaller unmanned drone ship, designated as Variation 5. In one demonstration, a Variation 3 ship exhibits a behavior Stevens has seen before.
We have often reported a nipping flight. We also have a wobbling flight, where it wobbles around a vertical axis.
The bobbing effect, Meyer explains, is due to the ship riding the waves of the Earth's magnetic field, much as a boat on the ocean.
What size is that ship, Billy?
They told me it's 7 meters.
One of the most frequent spots for the contacts is Obersadeleg, a wide valley just 10 minutes from the farm at Schmidruti. Here, Meyer took one of his most spectacular series of photographs.
Between both roads. And you can see here these lighty trees here. That's there up. And here on the left side, this hill. What's happened there behind. And the trees here down. It's that one there. Yeah. Okay, then is this, where did this come in? This picture I took there. If you go left side a little bit, here. If you go down, like this way here.
The beam ship stayed in the area for almost 20 minutes, flying slowly, often skimming the treetops, sometimes just hovering in place.
And the ship was a little behind them when I took this picture. And just now the trees are growing up in the last months. They are about 1.5 or 2 meters higher than at the time when I took this picture.
Then where did it move?
It left that place to the left side. Something like Yeah, like this. And then it was moving over there. You see here the small tree, where it's happened there. This one, that's that there. Did it come across in front of the trees like this? Yes, yes. And you can see there behind left side of this one, this tree, the higher one there. Yeah. And after this picture I got the other one to that position there. Further over? Yeah. I think we got another one in here now. Yeah. The one in between there, right? I had to go back a little bit, there down, and from there I took the picture. That's the tree, there down what you can see.
The investigators are impressed by the vastness of the valley, the steep drops and the obvious difficulty of hanging models from anywhere to fake the pictures. The stunning clarity of the pictures and the accessibility of the site gives the investigators the chance to put the photos through another test.
Billy, we're using this to measure distance. It's the latest in infrared measuring devices. It's actually a small computer. It's made by Wild Heerbrut here in Switzerland. And what we're trying to do here, Lee is up there with the reflector. And what this will do is send infrared light out and reflect out of that reflector back here. And this will rapidly tell us the distance and will also tell us how much higher or lower he is.
That's about where you're standing, right there.
That's right, please. Okay, we'll go to on systems.
The precise measurements and photos are fed into the computer. The edges of known objects, such as the trees and the hills, are translated into pixels. Since these measurements are known, the number of pixels in the edge of the unknown object, the craft, gives its distance. The beam ship is determined to be just where Maya said it was. Simple triangulation then gives it size. 7 meters, or about 21 feet in diameter.
Billy, how many sightings?
By now, the investigators have made over a dozen trips to Switzerland. The case takes up more and more of their time and taxes their ingenuity. Each test leads to another, and every result is double and triple checked. To test the possibility that the Maya photographs were made using small-scale models suspended by transparent monofilament, the investigators bring with them a detailed model of a beam ship they identify as Variation 2. While Welsh flies the model on a hilltop above the farmhouse, Maya and Stephen snap several rolls of film. The camera Maya is using is the same one with which he took all the other pictures. The results are impressive. To the naked eye, some of the photos appear genuine.
Those photographs, they're interesting. They look pretty good. Pretty good.
I saw one difference in them, and that was that those models look white. They don't reflect that silver gleam like the pictures that Billy had.
You want to look at the focus in them.
Hey, hi guys. What's
Hey, Tom, how are you?
about?
The pictures.
Oh, yeah. Some of them looked pretty bad, but some of them look pretty good. I think we ought to test them.
Pictures of the model are not all that good. In the pictures where he focused on the model, the horizon is out of focus. Where he focused on the horizon, the model is out.
We should put them in there for comparative testing under computer analysis. We've got to have that comparison. So when we look at models, there's a variety of things that are different. That object right there is solid. It's one solid color. There's very little contour in it compared to other objects that are in the photograph. There's no contour to the object. Remember when we looked at the other photographs that were taken by Meyer, the width of the edges ranged from 4 to 9. Point of the story, this is a small model. It's easy to tell small models. Well, we tested that fighter sequence, and that came out pretty good. We didn't find any strings in there.
And when we got through blowing it up in the computer, we had the outline of the Mirage fighter, everything.
The incident occurred at Schmarbühl. Meyer claims the jet made 22 passes at the beam ship. Computer analysis using the information from a known object, the Mirage fighter, shows again that the beam ship is the size and distance Meyer claims. Much of Meyer's film has been lost or stolen, but the remaining sequences are, as promised, the most astonishing ever released. In one demonstration, the beam ship flies around a tree, which can be seen to sway in the backwash. Once again, in slow motion. Even slower. Later, Semyasi brings a new beam ship to pose for Maya's cameras. A variation quite unlike anything he has seen before. She explains, as best he can understand it, the function of the spheres for propulsion of the craft in interstellar travel.
A pesar de los diversos estudios, los cuales no lograron demostrar científicamente la procedencia extraterrestre de las naves de Meyer, ni tampoco la existencia de fraude, los años han jugado en contra del supuesto contactado. Así, Carl Korff publicó un voluminoso trabajo en el que se exponen las evidencias que colocarían a Meyer como un auténtico farsante. Korff desmenuzó todos los aspectos del caso del contactado suizo, denunciando, entre otras cosas, la dudosa integridad de Vogel, el único en ofrecer cierto soporte a la extrañeza de los fragmentos asociados a las naves, la ausencia de negativos originales y fotografías de primera generación para los análisis fotográficos o la falsedad de las fotografías tomadas por Meyer durante sus supuestos viajes espaciotemporales a bordo de las naves pleyadianas. Igualmente, con los años se ha demostrado la falsedad de las fotografías que, según Meyer, mostraban a dos de las mujeres pleyadianas, Asket y Nera, las cuales eran realmente dos actrices que aparecían en el programa televisivo de Dean Martin Variety Show. Ante algunos de estos descubrimientos, el autoproclamado contactado suizo aceptó dichos fraudes, pero alegó que todos son maniobras de intoxicación perpetradas por los hombres de negro. A lo largo de los años, Meyer ha ido reuniendo un numeroso grupo de seguidores concentrados alrededor de su organización FIGU, Comunidad Libre Interesada en Ciencias de Frontera y Espirituales y estudios ufológicos, lo que ha hecho aumentar las comparaciones de su movimiento contactista con sectas. Lo cierto es que la mayoría de los ufólogos han ido retirando su apoyo al caso Meyer, a pesar de que todavía existen algunos estudiosos que mencionan la ausencia de fraude demostrado en varias fotografías o la existencia de testigos secundarios en algunos avistamientos, como pruebas de sus contactos con los pleyadianos.
You see, the first she told me I shall get the most best pictures of UFOs, what's ever happened on Earth. The second thing, I shall go out to tell the truth to the human on Earth, why they are coming to here, what reason they have, that they are coming to Earth not to harm us, not to make war, not to bring peace.
Why are they interested in us, a society thousands of years behind them in technological development? According to Maya, we share common ancestors. Their forefathers were our forefathers. We are, in a sense, family.